Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I had a very interesting conversation today at a gun range while training somebody. Some people that I was training, they were basically from an ex-communist country in Eastern Europe. I forget which one they said, but it was an ex-communist country. I've had this type of a conversation many times. They get very emotional. They really hate communism because they actually grew up with suffering. They grew up with starvation. Their grandparents, in many cases experienced cannibalism, all right, because they did have situations like that. Isolated situations, but they did have situations like that. I've heard some stories from Ukraine, from Serbia, not Serbia, from Siberia. I've heard a couple of stories. And these aren't like just stories that you hear in the news. These are people telling me their family stories. But anyway, today I heard something interesting, something new. That I hadn't quite heard it put this way, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So I was training a young lady. I think she was in her mid-30s, but she grew up, under communism, and she had many terrible stories to share. But she said one very interesting point. She said that, because I was telling her that the people in this country that want socialism, they have no idea what they're asking for. They're just ignorant. They have no idea that communism is death and starvation. Okay, and she told me that the people that want socialism are always the first to be put on the wall. Okay, that was her quote, the wall. And of course, what she meant when she said the wall, she meant the firing line. Basically they're put on the wall and shot. Okay, that's what she meant. I knew what she was talking about. But I thought about it a little bit, and yeah, she's absolutely right. And I kind of was aware of it, but I hadn't quite put it in those terms, because the way it works is, when you have socialists that take power, right? And this is no different whether we're talking now or whether we're talking 100 years ago. When socialists take power, they take power by promising a lot of free stuff, right? They promise a lot of free stuff. And then, the people that put the socialists in power, at some point when they're going to come back to the socialists and they're going to say, okay, great, we got you in power. Give us all the things that you promised. Give us free this, free that, free that, free the other thing. So here's the thing. Here's what happens. The socialists, right, knows that those people that put him in power did so violently in many cases, and he knows that that those same people that violently put that person in power are just as capable of violently taking him out of power. So now the socialist leader has no choice. He has to kill those people, right? Because he's aware that he cannot deliver to them all the free things that he promised. Okay, and at some point they're gonna want to do to him what they did to the previous leaders, and they're gonna want to basically throw him out of power and kill him. So he's going to try and get ahead of them, and he's going to kill them first. Okay, so it made all the sense in the world after this girl said this. I'm going, yeah, like I kind of knew it, but I never quite heard it expressed in those terms. And this is like one of those things where, like, I have to sit down and I have to kind of like rationally think through it. Like, how does a socialist get into power? He promises a lot of free things. Okay, what happens when he cannot deliver? The people that put him in power get really mad at him, and they want to remove him from power. And depending on on how he was put into power, if he was put into power violently, he's going to be taken out of power violently. It's just how things run. If you might, if in a situation where he's maybe elected into power, there's a possibility that he might be elected out, but that's not likely. Because the saying is that you can vote your way into socialism, but you have to fight your way out of it. But if the socialist leader is put into power violently, and he does not deliver, then he is most certainly going to be violently removed from power, and he knows this very well. He's seen it because that's how he got into power. So he, as soon as he realizes that the people that put him in power are demanding things that he promised, You know, he has to take the initiative, and he's going to go and he's going to line up those people and kill them. You know, somebody like me, right? I'm not going to go ask him for stuff because I don't trust him, right? So, you know, if a socialist ever gets into power, I'm not going to be the one, you know, saying, give me this free, give me that free, give me the other thing free, because I know that socialism is a trap. But the people that put him into power and believe in him are the ones that are going to go, okay, hey, great, we put you in power, give us all the free stuff, you know, and then he's going to be like, all right, well, I got to get rid of these people before they get rid of me. So that's how that goes. It makes all the sense in the world. It's just that the way that this young lady said it, it was like, wow, okay, yeah. Because here's the thing, like somebody like me that grew up in this country, I have to kind of logically think my way through it, right? I have to say, okay, well, you know, what happens when you promise people free stuff and you cannot deliver? You know, what's going to be, you know, so I have to kind of logically go through it. I have to say, okay, you know, why does a mouse trap work? Okay, it works because the mouse does not understand why the cheese is free, okay? So I have to like logically think my way through it. But people that grew up in communism, that grew up in socialism, they don't have to logically think their way through it. They've seen it. They've got the family stories. You know, they know, you know, how that stuff works. So it's really interesting for me when I hear things from, you know, from the other side, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little story that I experienced today. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Talk to you guys soon.